Morning, everyone. I'm not sure if this is working or not. I've had to try a couple of times coming in and out. I think it's my broadband. So if you're there, stay there. I can see there are some people online. So I will wait a few more minutes to see who joins us because we've got less people now than we had at 20 to 10. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. If you can hear me and you're on the live chat, just put a hello, please. Okay, as I said, I'm going to just wait a couple more minutes because I lost most of my viewers a couple of minutes ago. I don't know, Andre, do you need to send another link out to people, or will this link work? This worked so smoothly last time as well, didn't it? Sorry, everyone. I think, as I say, I think it was my my internet that froze. Okay, Andre sent out another link, so I am going to wait for more people to join. I've got 10 on at the moment, but I will wait till 10 past 10, then I'll kick off. Worst case scenario, it'll be recorded and we can send it round later in the day anyway. Hi, Michelle. Can you hear or see me now? Got your email. Thank you. There's a lot more people joining now. So as I say, I'll just wait 2 or 3 more minutes. I'm not particularly good at filling. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I had a shirt especially for today. I had a shave and everything. Thank you, Ola. Good to see you there. Morning, Racelyn. How you doing? Okay. Lots of jokers out there sending me nice messages. The eagle-eyed of you will notice that I've decorated my room since last week. Painted it exactly the same colour, so because that was all I had in the shed. Okay, I'm going to wait 1 more minute and then I will kick off, and hopefully people will find the link and join us as we go. I had intended today to be a relatively short update anyway, but we'll see how we go. Morning, Dave. Thomas, you're in. Okay, 1 more minute and I will start. Oops. Press that button, I'll lose everyone again. Morning, Ryan. Okay, it's 10 past 10. I'm going to kick off. Thank you for those who are joining me. Apologies for the slight cock up earlier. As I said, when I went down to tell the kids to get off, I think that broke it. Yeah, I just wanted to do an update. There's a few things I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through an update from around the group. I'm going to talk a little bit about IT, a bit about PPE. I'm going to mention job security because that's come up quite a bit. Talk a little bit about mental health. Do some thank yous, and then and then wrap up. I didn't have any specific questions sent to me this time. I had quite a few last time. They were mainly around the themes around IT and job security. So as I say, I'm going to cover that again today. But if you do have any questions as we go, email Andre. He's waiting for them to come through and he'll send them on. Or if you're on the live chat, put them on the live chat so that everyone can see them, and I will try my best to answer them. So I'm going to do a quick whistle-stop tour around the services. I probably won't mention everyone or everything. Apologies if I don't, because there's huge amounts going on. But just, I know we're all kind of working in different places, not seeing too much of each other at the moment. I know there's lots of WhatsApp groups and all that type of thing set up. But you probably don't know what's going on right across the group. So I'm just going to give a quick update. First of all, in housing options, most of the face-to-face services are closed, but they're still seeing significant demand for temporary accommodation. Done a fantastic job with the rough sleepers team to house up to 90 rough sleepers, I believe it was, as of last week. It's probably higher than that now, which is a tremendous effort. We're seeing temporary accommodation supply lower than we would hope. Lots of kind of schemes around about using hotels and all that type of thing. And sometimes they sound better than they are, or they're more problematic to get hold of than maybe some of the news headlines suggest. So thank you, well done to the housing options team, keeping up a huge amount of work in extremely difficult circumstances. A little bit about housing management. I'll come back to housing management because I've got a special shout out for that team at the end. A lot of the work going on there, keeping services running, and the usual things that we would expect to be doing, but in this scenario, even more challenging. Particularly got a lot of work going on around supporting vulnerable people. There's quite a lot of this going across the group, as you all know, because you're involved in it. We're proactively contacting all of our chat, sometimes to offer support, sometimes to link them into other services that we've got going on. A little bit about property services. A lot of our contractors have down tools for obvious reasons. A lot of our customers obviously don't want people going into their homes. Morning, Laura. You found your way back in. Morning, Tim, and morning, Helen. Yeah. So in terms of the property services team, I know they're doing a huge amount of work with contractors. Those that are available to work are still doing some things, but obviously most of our major works and a lot of our compliance type work is on hold. Although obviously we're keeping up with the main compliance things that we need to. On the repairs team, I wanted to kind of special mention for this team, and again I will come back to them at the end just to mention a few names, but been particularly challenging. Obviously by now we were expecting that service to be in-house, and so the team has been gone through a long period of uncertainty, only at the very last minute for us to have to put things on hold, which is really frustrating for everyone involved. But they've done a brilliant job working with Mears, and I'm not always overly positive about some of the issues and things that we've had with Mears over the last few months, but actually they've been very good. They've stepped up, they've supported us when frankly they didn't need to. But I know that's mainly through largely through the hard work of our repairs team, working closely with them, and making sure that we keep the show on the road. Gas servicing as well. I think we had one property we can get into as of last month, and that's a resident well known. And every year makes things slightly difficult to access. And obviously this year was exceptionally difficult. So brilliant work from the repairs and gas teams there. Marsh Drive continues. We're still morning from Grand Park. Oh, good morning, Grand Park repairs. Just talking about you. Hopefully you heard that. Regeneration activity and Marsh Drive continues. and the Evelyn and team are extremely hard, and Ketchy and Ian, and all of those involved in that to make sure we can decant that property by October. It's looking increasingly difficult and hard to see whether we will do that. Some of the supply that we're expecting is slowed down, as you can imagine, but we're working still closely with the residents there, trying to keep them updated. And I think one of the things that this whole difficult situation has created is probably a better relationship with some residents, where it's not quite so combative, and we can talk to them and they understand that some of the difficulties we've got there. Development and growth. Most of our development sites are closed. Some of them are looking at coming back to work. This is particularly where we've got buildings that are nearly complete, and staff can go in and work in individual contractors, I should say, can go in and work in individual units to get them finished. We are working very closely with them. We do have some concerns about whether they will be able to follow social distancing guidelines, and whilst ultimately it'll be their decision, we want to see a lot of checks and balances in place before we allow that to happen. And then the back office teams, IT, I will come back to IT, but clearly huge amount of work going on there. Extremely challenging. I think they feel in the brunt of it, and they do feel personally kind of affected and fed up with some of the situation around IT, but I know they're working incredibly hard to keep things going. HR, I think everyone got paid this month, so thank you to the payroll team, and again they're supporting working from home. And I always like to mention the comms team. At the moment that's a team of one, so thank you Andre, got this up and running, but also we're doing quite a lot to keep in contact with our members and our residents, and Andre supporting that activity, so thank you. On to your choice. Extremely challenging circumstances for anyone working in that service. We've sadly had a number of deaths, both in our residential settings, but also service users who use our day services. Extremely difficult, obviously, for people working in that setting, both in obviously around the sad loss of some of our service users, but also obviously the impact it has on them and their families personally. And I can't imagine. I'm not working in those settings, but I know it's extremely difficult. But that said, they kept the show on the road. So a lot of those people, we go out and clap for the NHS on last night. We should also make sure we're clapping for our care and support team, because they're doing exactly the same things as some of those working in the NHS. I know that we've taken on additional work through enablement, and again, helping people who are coming out of hospital who've had COVID-19. Again, as you can imagine, it's extremely difficult and challenging for those staff members. So thank you. Most of the day services are closed. Flower Lane remains open. I think we only probably have about 9 or 10 service users still coming in there, but they provide vital services for those families, again, under extremely difficult circumstances. So well done to those working in Flower Lane. Okay, so that's a quick whistle-stop tour of our services. As I said, I probably missed a few out, but I just wanted to give a few headlines there so you've got an idea of what's going on across the group. As I say, if you've got any questions, then fire them over to me, or if anything I haven't covered in enough detail or got wrong, more likely, please shout, and I will rectify that. So a quick word on IT. Ola's sent me quite a long update. I'm not going to go through all that. Thanks, Ola. But we'll get that out to the wider group via Andre later on today. As I said, it's been incredibly challenging. I think there's a balance between a number of issues. We've been really trying to pinpoint what they are and deal with the ones that are affecting our customers first and foremost, but then obviously impacting on us being able to do our jobs either from home or remotely. One of the key challenges was around telephony and it effectively not working. We've got the contact centre working from home now, and that seems to be working well. If you're in the contact centre today and it's working, give me a thumbs up or drop me an email. But as far as I know, that's working well. And similarly with the housing options call centre, it took us about another week to get them up and running, but I know that's working well as well now on interactive. And we hope by next Wednesday to have the income team using it. I know they're incredibly frustrated, trying to deal with customers working from home, lots of calls dropping out, that type of thing. So we should have them up and running on interactive by the end of by the middle of next week. As to other IT issues, I think I mentioned this last time, but just to reiterate, we are working closely with LBB and Capita and the issues that we're facing about access to systems and network they're facing as well. So it is a hugely high priority for them, but some of it just isn't getting fixed as quickly as we would want. We are looking at various workarounds, we're looking at options of people accessing systems in different ways. But as I say, Oliver will send a bigger update later on, just to give you an idea of some of the activity going on there. So I wish I could just come on here and say, as of tomorrow, it will be sorted. But I want to acknowledge, I know it's difficult, and I know that it can be problematic getting into some services. And I know that some people are having to come into the office because they can't access services from home, which really at the moment isn't ideal, as you can imagine. The next thing I wanted to mention was around PPE, personal protective equipment. I know this has been a particular challenge in some of our care and support settings in YCB. Particularly in the early days, we didn't have access to all of the kit that we needed. Some of the training and some of the guidance on how it's used was slightly conflicting. We think we're there now. We think everyone should have everything that they need. We are getting daily deliveries, and we should have everything that everyone needs from a PPE point of view. So I was going to say on here, please shout if you feel you don't have the correct equipment to do your job. If you're running short of PPE, I know last time I was asked about hand sanitizer even at Colindale. I did follow up on that, and I understand that some of it was going walkies on a regular basis, but I think that's sorted now. But again, if there's not, then let me know, because the safety of everyone working is our absolute #1 priority. And that's been incredibly challenging. It's a national issue, shortage of PPE. You'll see it on the news endlessly. We think, as I say, we now have the supplies that we need to make sure our staff can remain safe. But if that isn't the case everywhere in the group, then please let me know. Next thing I was just going to mention around job security. I talked about this last time. I know there's lots of people worried about the long-term future, what will happen, about individual jobs. And all I can say is that as we were, we remain a key service in the borough. We're supported both through local government and also central government, and our funding, most of our funding remains untouched by this. That's not to say in the long term there won't be a financial impact. I think would be very naive to say that isn't going to be the case, because somewhere a huge bill is being racked up for all of this, and we will have to figure out how we sort that out. But people shouldn't be worried about their jobs. Jobs are expertise of mine, but I saw one of the princes, Prince William, is it? Yeah, on the news this morning, talking about this, and really just to make sure that we're looking out for one another in these difficult times. I know, as I say, lots of us are on things like WhatsApp groups or talking regularly on meetings, that type of thing. And you will go through peaks and troughs in your moods, and that happens at the best of times. But right at the moment, it's particularly difficult. People worrying about relatives, not being able to get to them, working from home, some of the frustrations of just getting your day job done, having to go into services where we know that people are sick. All of this will weigh heavily on people's mental health. So the best thing I think we can do is to support one another, and to talk about it. And if you are not feeling great, then say so. And I think sometimes just doing that alone can help. And if you're really feeling down about things, then make sure you contact someone who can support you. But this is probably one of the biggest challenges we've got in this remote working environment. So just keep it in mind. Hello, Patrick. I don't know if you went away and came back again. I know you were on the original meeting, so welcome. I just want to quickly go around and talk about a few teams. I did ask, you know, just for a few shout outs. The danger is I've now got a list of everyone working in the Barnet group. We've got 72 people online now, so I think people have gradually joined. So apologies for those who are just joining. It was my fault, hands up. I broke the internet about an hour ago, about half an hour ago, and knocked everyone off. So apologies if you missed the start of this. I'm sure you can go back and watch again. I think last time we did this, I think we've got something like 320 views, and I'm sure that's not all just my mum rewatching it on YouTube. So I think we've got quite a large group of the organisation managed to get on and see the briefing. Okay, so just wanted to go around and do some more specific thank yous. Again, if I haven't mentioned your team, it doesn't mean you're not doing a great job. It's just I wanted to kind of pick out a few from a very long list. So I think the top of the list I've got at the moment is around caretakers in the bulk team. I know they've been incredibly flexible. You know, they've been carrying on doing work, again, in difficult circumstances, lots of concerned residents that they're coming into contact with. The bulk team in particular came in for particular thanks for some of the work they've been doing on the volunteering side, getting freezers delivered so that we can help provide up to 300 meals a day. So I think that's over in Stonegrove. I've been supporting them. So thank you to the caretakers and the bulk team. I've already mentioned the repairs, gas and MERS teams, but I want to mention them again. Stephen, hopefully you're there and listening. As I said, it's been an incredibly difficult time, and a lot of uncertainty around there. They've really stepped up. In fact, we're doing more repairs and emergencies and urgent repairs than a lot of other organisations are managing to do at the moment. And MERS have supported that process, so we should make sure that we acknowledge that. Again, I mentioned Rough Sleepers team earlier, but I wanted to, again, a particular thank you to them. I say over 90 people housed in the last few weeks, incredible effort. And some really difficult circumstances, and trying to continue to support those people through this process and after is difficult. It's one thing getting people into accommodation, it's sometimes more difficult to make sure that they can maintain that. Sheltered housing team, any of you there? Well, as I know Patrick's there, but anyone else there from that team? Again, a very difficult setting to be providing services at the moment, and always appreciative of the work this team does. I know they provide a really close and personal service for our residents and in normal circumstances. And at the moment, they're probably finding that difficult to do. But they're doing a huge amount of support, door knocking, making sure people are okay, and providing services that those people, you know, most of them over 70, a lot of them very vulnerable, who really need it right now. The floating support team, over 300 vulnerable customers, continue to provide service to them. So fantastic. I said to Dipani that she was first on my list. I hope you're there, Dipani. Probably too busy, probably doing month end, but if you are, thank you. But not just Dipani, the whole of the finance team. I know that you've had a particularly difficult time with IT. A number of you had to come into the office, still doing long journeys to do so, and working late nights and weekends to get month end done. And I know that process will go on for another at least 6 to 8 weeks. So thank you to you guys. And just a few of the neighbourhood teams I want to mention, particularly Rental Income, fantastic end of year performance. Well done, guys. Leasehold team hitting the end of year targets. Obviously, there's been a huge amount of change and in that area. And once again, people have showed their commitment to our customers and the Barnet Group. So thank you, Rental Income team, Leasehold team, and neighbourhood team, particularly the ASB team, I want to mention there. A few specific people I want to talk about. Michelle Davies, are you there? If you are, lots of emails about you and the brilliant positive attitude that you've brought, supporting your team and being a real rock. So thank you, Michelle. Hi, Ricky Brown and the Sheltered Housing team. Great, thank you. And the next person I want to mention was Darren Miles. I think he in particular supporting Stone Grove Community Trust, picking up freezers. I mentioned that already, but again, just going above and beyond. So thank you to Darren. Also want to mention Alison and Anne from supporting the contact centre, getting things up and running. So thank you, Alison and Anne freely as well. Thank you very much. And then on to care and support and your choice. I could probably sit and list 100 names here. I'm not going to. I'm probably going to list a few though, but I just want to make sure that you all know that we all appreciate everything you're doing. But a few people I want to mention in particular: Michelle, Ilona, Josie, and Leonie. I think it's Leonie. Sorry, I can't quite pronounce that right. From Ansell Court, and Chris and Jeff, who normally work at Rosa Morrison, who are working at Ansell Court as well. In particular, thank you. Cynthia from Medicide. Again, really difficult settings working at Medicide and Delfield and Apthorpe at the moment. And Cynthia's name came to the top of the list, so thank you, Cynthia. Sally from PA Service, I wanted to mention you. I just had a compliment just come from you just yesterday, so thank you, Sally, and anyone working in the PA team. As I said, Flower Lane is still up and running. Was asked to mention Maggie. Thank you, Maggie. Brilliant work. You're keeping things going at Flower Lane. And finally, as I said, the enablement team have picked up a whole load more work recently. So I wanted to mention in particular Eunice, Sharon and Jackie. So thank you to the enablement team and you three in particular. As I said, I could sit here all day, list a lot of people. I'm seeing people coming and going on the numbers, so I won't do that. We've got a lot to get on with. As I said, I didn't get any specific questions through today. Hopefully I've covered the areas that people are most concerned about. I've talked about IT, I've talked about PPE, I've talked about job security, I mentioned mental health. Said thank you to those who've gone really above and beyond. So I think that's probably all I was going to say. I'll leave it just a minute. If anyone on the live chat wants to send an email question through to me directly, I'll just stay here just for a couple of minutes. But otherwise, I will sign off. So just check on my email, see if anything's come through. 1 minute. At the moment, just got lots of emails about fly tipping, so I'm sure the team are onto that one. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for all of you who joined me now. As I said, apologies for messing it up early on. I'll try and do something similar next week. Well, Alicia's just asked me how I am. Thank you. I'm fine, thank you, Alicia. Thank you for your question. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there for now. If you've got colleagues who want to get an update, then point them in the direction of this link, and they can fast forward the boring bits and listen to some of it. As I said, last time I think we had about 70-80 people online, which is what we've got now, and we ended up 300 odd watching it. So hopefully it's useful. I will be back next week to do something similar. Thank you very much all, and that's me gone. Thank you.